Good evening, folks. This is Jacob Folger, artist sculptor. And I'm sitting here, it's Christmas Eve 2020, and I was thinking I'd like to make something. So I thought I would make something and share it with you guys. Want to do something with this rock. And I'm thinking a fairy tree house would be nice. So I have to prepare the rock, so I'm going to use GAC 100 made by Golden, but you could use other products as well, like varnish and other acrylic products. Yeah, it definitely helps to have the rock not be as porous when you go to sculpt on it. So what this does is it kind of takes away the porosity without changing the way it looks so much. It does give it a sheen, but not much of one. So we'll be able to see the natural quality of the rock. It is an acrylic product, so it's not going to hurt you if you get it on your hands. And so I've coated it like that and wash my brush in water. Set that aside. Actually, I'll set that right there and just sort of lean that rock up like that. So, it's actually been quite a while since I sculpted a tree on a rock. So it should be fun. So I'm working in Polymer clay. This is Sculpey 3 brand. Some of the rolling and shaping I'll have to do off screen because there's just not enough room on the set. But basically I'm starting out with a shape like this. And you can kind of pull on it like this to get the roots shape started. That just kind of gives you an idea, kind of puts you in the right frame of mind about what you're doing if you have some kind of root there or something. So, the rock, a couple things about this is it's really best if you start sculpting right away on your rock, even before it's completely dry. And I don't recommend sealing your rock 2 weeks before you start. I recommend sealing it the same time or so that you're going to start. I'm going to roll a ball like this. I'm going to decide what orientation I want the stone to be in, so maybe something like that. And I'm going to put this clay on the back of the rock and blend it in. So it's kind of like one with the rock, and it's going to be like a little kickstand so the rock can stand up on its own. So I just sort of blend that in to the back of the stone. And then I'm going to hold the stone so it's leaning back slightly. This way I know it won't fall forward. And then I'm going to turn around facing me, and I'm going to press the clay into the board or the table. So it's leaning back like that, and I'm forming the clay so that it's flat on the bottom like that. And then I can go around and blend it in all the way around. And that is how it's going to look. And it looks like the rock is standing up pretty much, even though it's leaning back a little bit. But that's so it won't fall forward later. Okay, then we're going to get our tree. And what I recommend doing is storing the bottom of the tree, which will give more surface grab to the rock. So I do that. And then I'll put it on the block with a twisting motion like that. And just sort of shape it into the rock. And now I'm going to shape the tree, and I want it kind of like a relaxed kind of form. I want it to be, so kind of going that way at first, and then sort of curving back. So it's kind of natural looking. And that looks pretty nice, like that. I'm going to take a little bit of clay and just add that to the roots here. Just kind of smoothing it, and I'm going to turn it around, and I definitely want to make sure the tree is standing upright even though the rock isn't. Okay, it's looking pretty good. It seems to want to go that way a little bit, so you know, leaning to the left. So I'm going to form the clay in the back to come around a little bit just by dragging it over, dragging it with my thumb, giving more support so the tree, so it's not going to fall over to the left or the right, or to the back or to the front. Okay, so I got that going pretty good. And now I'm going to take a ball tool, and I'm going to start shaping a little door just by kind of pushing in with the ball tool. Just sort of shape it, just pushing in. Just sort of kind of smoothing the doorway with the ball tool. I definitely want it kind of inset. I don't really want it like right at the surface. I want it kind of deep in there. Kind of like that. Just smooth it out by running your ball tool over it. Now I'm just checking to make sure this is fairly stable. Kind of smooth the opening a little bit. You can just pat it, you can rub it with your thumbs, you know. And then you can take maybe a sharper tool like this and draw lines in the door to kind of give it the appearance of wood planks, like that. You can take maybe a little tiny ball of clay like this think about this big, and just put it in there for the doorknob, like that. And then you can take little bits of clay, maybe reroll a ball first, I'm sorry, off camera. Like maybe about this big, and you can rotate it in your hands, rotate and flatten it a little bit like this. And then you can hold it to the table and flatten one side so it looks like a D, looks like a V. And then you can put it in front of the door like that, or like a doorstep, and blend it in. And when you blend it in, it becomes kind of strong to the stone. And you can do that on the bottom also with the ball tool, like that. And then you can take another ball and start adding stairs. So you roll a ball, turning it in your fingers, you kind of flatten it. And that's kind of big. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. Roll it again, and flatten it. And then I'll put it here on the stone and blend it in like that. We can make another one. Just keep on making steps, rolling balls and flattening them out. That one's a little big. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And you can put it on the stone. Kind of blend it into the stone. You want to make sure you do that with all the steps. Blend them into the stone, bottom and top. Now this one I've got coming out a little bit like that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a switchback, which is kind of fun because it's like fairy houses are funny like that. They have funny steps sometimes. So I'm going to put it right here on the stone, so you come down, boom, 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 like that. For this one. And blend in. Yeah, pretty cool. And then another one. Roll them all. Flatten it out. Putting it in your hands and your fingers. And add it on. Blend it into the stone. That's kind of fun. And I don't know if you ever play in the moss. So I used to go. I used to live in North Carolina, and man, they had the forest behind our house had so much moss. It was so amazing. And I used to go in there and I'd make fairy houses and stuff, and I would plant them in the moss, and put them in like the holes around trees and, you know, the knot holes in trees and that sort of thing, and just take pictures of them and just play with it. It was just fun to do that. Well, now as I get older and can't really get out as much like that, I learned how to do that with computers, you know, do it on computers. And I have some videos about that, and I'm going to put at least a link in the video description so you can see. I have this one called Ultimate Fairy Garden, and it's really kind of a fun video where I take things like this and I plant them in this fairy garden mossy scene, and it's really a lot of fun. A lot of fun. You know, it's computer art, but you know, it's fun. Because it gives you the opportunity to play and that sort of thing. So here we go. We got this going on. You can just shape it. And another thing you can do also, by the way, is while you're at it, you can make little stepping stones just to have to add later on to whatever scene you want to do. You can have a couple stepping stones or whatever. You can make as many as you want and just, you know, have them to go with your tree. Like, you know, can you see that? See? Or you can make stepping stones to kind of go with your tree. So let's start adding some details and stuff. I think one thing I'm going to do is kind of make this root a little bit more substantial. So I'm going to add some clay there and just sculpt it in there. Moving it in with my thumb. Don't want to forget about the back, you know, get the back too. Make sure the trees aren't leaning too much. I'll bring this up so you can see what I'm doing here. And so we'll do the same with the other root. Bring it on here and blend it in. Kind of like that. And then you can do things like, you can add like little tendrils of roots. Maybe get a little bit more here, and you can roll like little cone shapes like this. And you can just sort of add them, and you can actually have them kind of come out on the stairway. Like that. Or kind of growing on the old stairway. You can do it here also, like maybe here, like a smaller one on this step here. So you can just play with it and just try to make it fun. So it's kind of encroaching on the stairs, which is kind of cool. Just kind of detail it in there like that. And let's have fun with it. The main thing is just to have fun with it. I'm moving it back a little bit so you can see where we're at now. And you can add branches at the top. Let me see if I can bring this camera back so you can see the top. There we go. It might be a good idea to score when you add branches to the top. So score, we're going to add it. Score the branch. And just kind of twist it in. Blend it in real good. All the way around. Like that. You can add more, so I'm going to go back around and just make sure he's not leaning too much. There we go. And yeah, you can do all kinds of things. You can do whatever you want. You know, it's really fun to work on and work for the bench. Put it on there. Now, it's definitely going to be a good idea to bake this. Don't let it sit around in your house unbaked, because sometimes pieces with polymer clay, they just fall apart if you do that. So keep that in mind. You can also, I'll show you in a few minutes, you can also add wire to the branches. And I'll just show you something about that in a few minutes. So I'm just going to add a few branches. I'm not going to put a bunch on here. Like that. Maybe one over here, one small one over here. Goes like that. And yeah, you can take wire. I've got a bunch of different wire over here. This is, this right here is galvanized steel wire, which tends to be best for something like this. But this is 20 gauge. The higher the number, the thinner the wire. So really, you would probably want 20 or 22, 20, let's see, this is 20 gauge, so you would probably want 16 or 18 gauge. But what you can do is you can pull a little bit out, and this is pretty small, so you can cut this really with a pair of scissors, perhaps scissors. And you can fold it in half and twist it like this, which strengthens it. And you can just, instead of trying to insert it into the branches, you can put it on the back of a tree and to the back of a branch like this. I'll show you from the other side so you can see. And you can embed it in the clay and then put clay over it. So that's a good way to add wire. And then you can take and add clay to it, covering the wire. So like that. When you add clay. and then that will strengthen the branches. So I want to demonstrate that. I'm probably not going to do it right now because you've already seen me do it. And I'll probably go back and do it later when I'm working on the tree later on my own. And still the wire is, fairly, it's not really sturdy, so you can still shape it if you want. And another thing you can do, if your tree is kind of like wobbly like that, you can take another length. Let me do that. I'm sorry I'm doing it off camera. There's just not enough room here. You can cut this off a piece like this. Bend it in half and twist it. Like that. And then you can take it and just insert it into the trunk of the tree right at the top. Like that. And when you're doing that, you're holding your tree and you actually can feel the wire moving down through it. And if it starts to come out, you can just redirect the wire and send it down through again, or cover up where it came out. And then cut the end off and put some clay over it, like this. The other thing you can do is you can do it the same way we did the branch, is you can put the wire at the back of the tree and then, press it into the clay and cover it up. Either way, you're going to strengthen the stalk of the tree by doing that. So this is kind of a little bit of a spooky tree and spooky fairy house. I'm probably not going to add foliage to it. I don't think. And but I think I'm going to add like a little hole for a window here. Just by taking this tool and going like that, twisting it. That's kind of cool. It's, it's pretty neat, really. And yeah. Take maybe a ball tool and just like that. And then you can like take the ball tool and I like doing it this way, the texture in the tree. Just kind of have it coming down like this. And around the hole. But I know that sometimes we get impatient and we just want to get it done and we don't really pay attention to how we're putting texture in trees. I've seen that when people send me pictures and stuff like that. So, just try to be mindful of that because, when you make something, you want it to be really nice. And so just take your time and put the texture in and make it look really cool. Yeah, that's fun. I like that. And of course you want to go around back and do the detail. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to do the front right now. And then later on I'll go back and add that. Wow, he's cool. I like that. I like the tree. I like it. Pretty neat. And you can also, texture is just a wonderful thing. I love texture. And just adding texture is just nice too. And like you can just, model the stairs and give them kind of a stony texture just by running the tool over the stairs like this. And kind of roughing them up a little bit. And maybe I can take like a little bit here and a little bit of clay and put another kind of handle going onto that stone. So what I'm going to do is when I finish this tree, I'm going to photograph it and I'm going to put it into a moxie scene on my computer. And then when I do the thumbnail photo, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be done with the computer in this mossy scene, and it'll be a lot of fun. So look for that, and when you see it, look for my videos, because I have a whole playlist of something like do-it-yourself, beautiful computer art. I mean, you can see it's really a lot of fun stuff. And I'll probably put the link in the video description for it too, because, I mean, it's winter time. What do? You got the pandemic and all the isolation. You got to stay away from people, stay away from your friends. And, this is just something fun you can do to get a break from everything. Wow, it's starting to look pretty good. Okay, we're going to get started again here, and we're going to be working in Acrylic Pigments for the finish. And we're going to use antique bronze, reflex violet, and silver. And don't forget your stepping stones. Make stepping stones so you can play with your sculpture when you're done. For the bronze, the bronze always looks better if you put it on with your finger. So I put it in a lid, I dip my finger in, like that, swirl it like that to kind of subdue it and make it really fine. And then just sort of lightly go over the tree. And I think the reason why I like to do the bronze on trees is because, trees are kind of brown, and there's something about the bronze that makes it feel to me like it's kind of brown in a way. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but I've always liked to do my trees in the bronze. And I'm looking for, I like a subdued look. You can do whatever you like, but that's what I like. I like kind of subdued, antique-like finish. And then for the silver, I don't really worry too much about putting it on with my fingers. What I do is I like to get my brush a little wet, and then I dab it off on the table and and then I dip it into the silver, and then I dab that off like that, and then just lightly go over the steps. Again, looking for kind of a subdued look. Old and gnarly and gnarled, I should say, and, kind of fun, like that. Do the stepping stones too. Yeah, I use water a lot when I'm doing this because it's a really good medium for moving the material, the Acrylic Pigments, and I just kind of like it, the way it works. And it can be very beautiful too. So you definitely want to clean your brush really good in between colors, and so I'll get a little bit more water on my brush and dab it on the table. I'm gonna get some Reflex Violet. This is running very low. I've got to get more. I love my Reflex Violet. I'm gonna put on the door, right there. Maybe in the window, like that. And then I'll clean my brush really good, and I'll get a little bronze, a little bit of water, a little bronze. Dab it on the table, and whoops, what's kind of purple? Do the doorknob in bronze, like that. Wow, looks pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, this is a fun tree. So definitely you want to be sure you go around, make sure everything's blended the way you want, make sure that the finish looks good, make sure that you've got enough wire support on all the branches and everything. And you definitely do not want to just let this sit without baking it. For baking, I actually recommend different baking times than Sculpey 3 recommends. It's just, when you're an artist, you learn different things about using products that you use, and you kind of come up with your own recipes for stuff, especially if you have a lot of experience working with something. And so, this is what I would do. I would preheat your oven to 275 degrees. Make sure the tree is very stable, because when it bakes it gets very soft before it gets hard. And you may want to lay it down on its back or something like that on an oven safe dish, and then bake it for a half an hour. That's it, a half an hour. I do that time for everything that I bake. I do it for little tiny pieces like this, and I do it for really big pieces like this. This gnome I baked for a half an hour. So, and he's like 6 inches tall. So, to give you an idea, it's fine. It's the pieces hold up. They look good. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel and give the video a like and share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to my channel, and that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.